Hey everybody, welcome back to Nicsminibikes. If you haven't yet, hit that link down in the description. Go pick you up some merchandise. We got hats, shirts, hoodies, all kinds of cool stuff. Go get you something. So today we're going to rob Ben's CT100U front suspension off of this bike, and we're going to see if it fits on the Hover Hearts bike. So I'm going to have to pull it off of this bike to get it on that bike. So come along for the ride, and let's just dive on in. So I'm not going to go full send on these. I just want to know if the suspension forks will bolt to that Hover Heart before I order a set for myself. And I imagine there's a couple of you out there that want to know too. So I'm going to pull the number plate off. I'm going to pull the bars off. I'll probably take these top bolts out here. That way I can get the cables and stuff off. And I'm going to leave the front tire and fender on here, and we'll just use them on the Hover Hearts for now, just to see if this will bolt up to the Hover Hearts. So let's get to it. All right, so onto the Hover Hearts. This one does not come apart. The triple tree doesn't come apart, but our bolt is not right underneath the handlebars here. So I should just be able to pull this one bolt, take this whole thing as an assembly, and maybe just lean it to the side over here and leave it all together, because I just want to see if that'll fit. If it fits, we're golden. That's all I really care about. So let's just pull this stem bolt out and see what's up. Got a 14 on the bottom here, 12 on the top. So I need to be able to swing a hammer at that, so I am going to take the fender off. There we go, finally, Jeezo. We're just gonna leave those right there. So this is the top plate for our suspension forks. My biggest concern was the size of this hole here. If it's too big, we're kind of screwed. If it's too small, we can open it up. Not a big deal. And if it's the right size, then we're good to go. So let's see what we got. This is the bolt from the Hover Hearts. And it's perfect. Fits right in there. So we'll have no problem putting this front suspension on here, and we'll go ahead and do it just to see, get an idea how it looks. And yeah, unfortunately, that stock fork is going to stay right there because it's going back on, but we can at least do this and see how it looks. So one problem I have with Coleman's, and I'm pretty sure FRPs and everybody else use the same head tube bearings, especially the older BT200Xs and CT200Us and UEXs. The head tube bearings are super small, and this Hover Hearts, it uses a big honker of a bearing there. I can't tell if it says 6200 or 6300. I can't tell, and they're big. That's nice. I like that a lot. But that's enough of that. Let's start putting this on there. Couple issues we're having right out of the gate. One is my fault. The other is an issue with the front suspension. One, I can't get this shock to line up and go into its counter bore here, and that's probably because the tire's on there and it's tweaking those forks out just enough to where I can't get it. Two, the bump stops, they're not quite wide enough to fit around the bigger neck tube of the Hover Heart. Not a problem. We'll get this taken back apart. I'm going to leave it on the bike like this for now. I'm going to take the wheel and the fender off just so it ain't so heavy for me to put on, and I really don't want to mess that fender up. And then we can see if the Hover Heart fender will fit on there too. So I'm going to take the fender and the tire off, and I'll bring you right back and I'll show you what we're going to do about the bump stops here. So yeah, with the tire and fender off, I'm able to put that shock into its counter bore there without a problem. Now for these bump stops here, these steering stops, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to grind away some material on the inside of both of them. I don't know if you really need to see me do that, so I'm going to knock it out and I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled the forks completely apart to do this, but I ground, let's see, I ground them flat on the inside, right there and right there. And now let's see if they fit. I'm just going to stick the bolt up through the bottom like this. Let's see if it goes past now. Yep, that'll do. We got clearance on both sides, and that looks good. Let's get these put on. And we'll just start with that top plate and the bolt. Our modified bump stop bottom plate. Looks good. And we'll just leave those loose for now. Left and right on these does not matter. So we'll slide one in to the top here. Slide the other one in. Use the impact to snug those down. Then we'll snug up this neck bolt here. That feels pretty good. And I'm not going to bolt the fender on, but I'm going to see if it lines up with the holes at least. It doesn't line up with the holes, but it's really close. You could oval those holes out and get it to fit. And you'll need spacers also. Not a big deal. Last thing we do is tighten up these cinch bolts over here. When you order these forks, they will come with a new axle and 2 spacers. Pretty sure this is the axle that came with that. And I'm not entirely sure about the spacer, but I think that's one of the spacers too. I didn't use them, but they're nice to have on the shelf. And here's our stock Hover Heart wheel and tire. axle that comes with. It's in there nice and good like. And your hover heart comes with 6001 wheel bearings. And I'm just going to kind of put this wheel on here just so we can get an idea of how that looks. When you get the front suspension and the axle and the spacer, the axle will be good, but depending on the front wheel you're running, you either need the spacers, you don't need the spacers. You might have to trim the spacers. I haven't seen anybody have to add spacers, but I mean, that could be a possibility. So that one, that's a little long for that side, so it would be trimmed down, and then the other one would be made to fill the space over there. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So the stock forks are laying on top here, and we're just going to go from the top plate to almost center on the axle, and we get 20 3/8. And then on the suspension forks, you get about 19 1/16. So let's call it 19. What did I call this? Oh yeah. So you are losing about an inch going from the stock forks to the suspension forks. You'll lose an inch, but it might not really matter that much. Let's get it down and see what it kind of stands like. You won't be able to see the handlebars and stuff, but yep, I like that. It drops that front end down just a little bit. I like when the lower bar is parallel with the ground. I think it looks sharp. But we did answer our question. Will front suspension forks go on to the Hover Hearts MB001? And the answer is yes. You got time, patience, a grinder. Could even probably get away with a file if you have enough patience. Are they a direct bolt on? No, they're not. But it's not really a big deal to grind the sides of those stops. You could even grind them off, drill holes, and do bolts like Hover Hearts does on their stock forks there. They just got bolts in there. The fender would go on. You're going to need longer bolts, and you're going to have to oval your holes out and use spacers, but it'll go on there too without much work. And I just think it would look sharp, all finished up, bars back on there. I like it. I'm going to have to order a set and get one on here permanently. These are going to go back on Ben's bike, and the stock forks are going to go back on the Hover Heart. If you can't tell, I am in the middle of something else here. That's for a future video. Something else to keep in mind, if you do swap over to these, you're going to need different risers. The risers that come with the Hover Heart are single bolt risers. The suspension forks take a double. You could drill you a set of new holes on the suspension forks there if you wanted to. That would be completely fine, not a problem. And reuse the risers off the Hover Heart bars there. But as they come, they're double hole risers, and Hover Heart's single hole riser. It's a good opportunity to switch over to like some taller risers or something like we did on the CT100U over there. But that's going to do it for this episode of Nicsminibikes. Front suspension on a Hover Heart, a little bit of modification, but it will work. Make sure you click the link down in the description. Go pick up some merchandise. We got hats, shirts, hoodies, all kinds of cool stuff. Make sure you check out Shetley Kart Supply. He does carry these front suspension forks. It's always nice to support a small business in the United States. You can go check out his website. The link is in the description below. Make sure you like, share, comment, hit that hype button, and subscribe to the channel. It's free for you, and it helps us out. We appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you on the next one.